Good morning. I am Kendyll Roberson, president of the Pampa High School student body. It is my honor and privilege to welcome all of you to the 2022 Pampa High School Harvester Hall of Fame induction ceremony. At this time, our nation's colors will be presented by the Pampa High School FFA students. Now will you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Sydney Larkin, president of the Superintendent, Student Ambassadors, and Student Body Secretary, will now come forward for the introductions.
Many guests are here with us today, and I have the privilege of introducing them. As I call your name, would you please stand? Audience, please hold your applause until all of our guests are introduced. Pamela Martin Kanaly. Her husband, Mr. Rich Kanaly. Her daughter's family, Mr. and Mrs. Jess and Sarah Malsby. Her son, Jason Scarborough. Her grandchildren, Carson Kanaly, Max and Malin Malsby, Kylie, Leah, and Tyson Scarborough, and Ryan and Beth Kanaly, and special friends of Miss Kanaly, Mrs. Gay Cunningham, Miss Shelby Pullum, Miss Stephanie Nelson, Miss Robin Nelson, and the class of 1970, please stand. Thank you. Now, Mr. Randy Johnston, his wife, Trissy Magadini, his children, Brandon Johnston, Coyt Johnston Jr., and special friends, Becky Brewer and Phil and Jane Smith, and special friends of Mr. Johnston and the class of 1965, please stand. Thank you. Next, please meet our other stage guests. Please stand as I call your name. Mr. Hugh Piatt, Superintendent of Pampa ISD. Dr. Abigail Barton, Assistant Superintendent of Pampa ISD. Mr. Clay Jones, Pampa High School Principal. Pampa High School Student Body Officers, Jose Lerma Montes, Student Body Vice President. Ariel, Lacher, Student Body Treasurer. Jesus Bernal, Student Body Chaplain. Thank you. You may be seated. Pampa ISD Board of Trustees. Ms. Denise Intiman, Secretary, and Member Richard Qualls. Thank you, trustees. Other distinguished guests we have here today are individuals who have previously been inducted into the Harvester Hall of Fame. In the audience, please stand as I call your name. Mr. Harold Corson, class of 1952. Mr. John Warner, class of 1954. Mr. Richard Dunham, class of 1956. Dr. J. Johnston, class of 1969. Reverend Dewey Wheat, from the class of 1969. Mr. Doug Carmichael, from the class of 1969. Mr. Todd Clement, from the class of 1980. Now please welcome Mr. Hugh Piatt, Pampa ISD Superintendent.
Good morning. It's my privilege to get to do this every year now for the last 8. And it's always an amazing opportunity for us to get together and think about what is ahead. As students, one day, we hope to have many of you having this opportunity because it's a life well led. You're going to hear some amazing stories here in just a few minutes. I was telling the reception people last night, you know, not many high schools that I know of do this. So it's a pretty special opportunity to be able to have alumni come back that are distinguished among their peers and be able to present to our student body the Harvester Hall of Fame. And it's an amazing honor, and I know hearing their speeches last night, they're very humbled to be able to be here and to accept this honor. And so I'm thankful for a student body that is attentive and represents us so well in everything we do. And I'm very appreciative of our guests that have been able to join us today to induct our 2 newest members into the Hall of Fame. Thank you guys for what you do. Thank you for being harvesters, and thanks for choosing to do it in Pampa. Without further delay, let me introduce Clay Jones, our high school principal, and he'll come up and begin our presentation. Y'all have a great day.
Good morning, PHS, students, staff, guests, alumni, distinguished inductees. It's a great day to be a harvester for sure. Pampa is a very proud and tradition-rich community, and one of the traditions that we really relish here is the Harvester Essay. And we had a lot of very impressive submissions this year, so very difficult for us to kind of whittle down who that winner was going to be. So to my knowledge, there's no other harvester mascot in any high school in the United States, and so we're very unique, and that's for a very good reason. So it takes an array of endearing qualities to prosper in this world, and the harvester really embodies those qualities that you're going to need to be successful once you leave these walls. The writer of this year's Harvester Essay was able to encapsulate what it means to be a harvester, and here's an excerpt from the essay. The bronzed harvester looks over all that he has ahead of him, readying himself for the future. He knows the seemingly vast amounts that he has already cultivated, but he continues to look forward. He can see the evidently endless fields kiss the horizon. It is a daunting task, but he is ready. He is not someone who shies away from a challenge, but faces it head on. He is someone who gathers resources for the future. He is a cultivator, readying the soil for crops. He is committed. He is hardworking. He is what all of us at Pampa High School community strive to emulate. So at this time, I would like to recognize the winner of this year's Harvester Essay as Thomas Scanton. Thomas, if you'll join us on stage. Come on up, sir. Yeah, come on. You're good. You seem surprised. Yeah, come on. Come on. Yeah, you're good. Congratulations. I'm not that scary, I promise. Come on up here real quick. So in the past, normally we've had Ted Swindle present this award from the class of 1965. Sadly, he's not able to join us today, and we do have a lot of similarities. We're both harvesters at heart. I'm a few years younger than he is, but in my conversation with him, he was extremely impressed by the way that you were able to encapsulate and list the qualities that make being a harvester so successful for us. So I know in his absence, he really hates being here, but he did want me to tell you how proud he is of you. He's proud to be a harvester, and he's proud of everybody in this room for the continuation of the wonderful things that were set forward by all the alumni that have come before you. So congratulations, Thomas.
Thank you, sir.
Great. So have that, guys. Appreciate you, man. At this time, we'll welcome Jesus Bernal.
The Pampa High School Hall of Fame began with the help of the class of 1997, the guidance of Miss Ramona Height, and the Pampa ISD Administrative Office. Thus, in 1997, the Harvester Hall of Fame was born and became a yearly activity at Pampa High School. To be selected for the Hall of Fame, the following criteria was determined. The former harvester must have graduated at least 10 years ago, must be successful for a number of years in their chosen field, must be an excellent citizen in their community or a community leader, a person exemplifying the harvester spirit in their life, and must be present at the Hall of Fame induction assembly. Ariel Lacher will now come forward to introduce our first inductee.
Pamela Kanaly is a 1970 graduate of Pampa High School. She attended Texas Tech University and graduated magna cum laude with a degree in elementary education. Upon graduation, she was chosen by her sorority to travel across the U.S., training leaders in strategic planning and chapter development. After her travel training, she taught at the elementary level for 10 years in Lubbock. She is an active member for church, and for 9 years, she taught a women's Bible class with an enrollment of 450 women. After becoming a single mother, she co-founded a nonprofit, Arise Single Moms, a global outreach whose mission is to empower single moms. She started the only traveling single mothers conference in America, Thrive, bringing emotional and spiritual wholeness to over 17,000 single mothers and children across the U.S. Her desire is to make a difference continued as she joined forces with Peter Spencer to host a daily national radio program. They later co-hosted a national television talk show. She was invited by former Governor Mary Fallin to speak to Congress about the difference that Thrive Conference was making. While in D.C., CNN saw the value of her work and did a 30-minute interview segment, which aired on national TV. She was also appointed by former Governor Fallin to serve as the commissioner for the Oklahoma Department of Human Services. She was selected to receive the honor from American Mothers Incorporated for the National Mothers of Achievement Award and was honored by the Oklahoma Journal-Record as one of the top 50 women making a difference. She was named Woman of the Year by Edmond Chamber of Commerce. She's the author of Will the Real Me Please Stand Up and The Single Mom and Her Roller Coaster Emotions. She has also had articles published in the Guidepost. She has supported her community as a volunteer for Wings, an organization providing assistance for special needs adults, Christmas Connections, and Outreach providing children with winter coats, and the Pink Bag, a ministry providing abused women with necessities. She currently lives in Edmond, Oklahoma with her husband, Rich Kanaly. Together, they share 4 children. Her life's motto fits her very well: let it shine. Miss Kanaly, would you please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, student body, please welcome Miss Pamela Kanaly into the Pampa High School Harvester Hall of Fame.
Wow, oh my goodness, thank you so very, very much. I tell you what, that Pampa Harvester Fight song, doesn't it just make you want to jump out of your skin? I want to put on my cheerleading outfit and come down there and cheer on you mighty harvesters. That is what I most want to do. And Pampa High School Band, you rock. You have always rocked and you still rock. Give them a hand. They're awesome. I love them. I love them. You guys, wow, what a way to empower me before I share a few words. I was, I am, and I will forever be a proud Pampa harvester. I want to take this time briefly to congratulate my fellow Hall of Famer, Randy Johnston, and his family. Congratulations to you. And I also want to take this time to thank Rich, my husband of 31 years. I want to thank my friends, family, and my classmates for being here today. I want to thank the person who nominated me, Mary Jane Rose Johnson, inductee in 1996. I want to thank the Pampa Harvester Hall of Fame Selection Committee. Since the inception of the Hall of Fame program 26 years ago, there have been 61 recipients, 51 men, and 10 women. I am deeply humbled to be among those Hall of Famers. I want to thank the Pampa Independent School District and Karen Linder for your commitment to excellence. Along with the teachers here, I come from a family of teachers. My mother was a 7th grade English teacher at Robert E. Lee Junior High School. My sister was a teacher. I was a teacher, and my dear daughter-in-law is a doctorate of education. We value teachers greatly. And finally, I must add, today I humbly accept this induction into the Pampa Hall of Fame in memory of my parents, Moon and Melba Martin. I arrived in Pampa on Wednesday, and I called my sister. She was not able to make it, and we drove around town. I talked to her on the phone, and we reminisced about memories of Pampa High School. Now, you're going to really like this, girls. But when she was a senior and I was a sophomore, we argued before school because I would not comb her hair, right? I had my own hair to take care of, right? But after touring the streets of Pampa and recalling our childhood memories, we both agreed that Pampa truly is the best in the West. We didn't realize it at the time that Pampa, Texas was and is a community culture that lays a sturdy foundation for you guys to leave here and be successful in life. I have many memories of Pampa High School, and one of them happened in this very PHS auditorium. I was sitting right over there. It was high school graduation. All the class of 1970, we were in our caps and gowns. The ceremony was briefly interrupted. We're in a tornado alert. Everyone exit the building now. And we did. I never walked the stage. Mr. Piatt and Mr. Jones, now that I'm on this stage, does this mean I have officially graduated? Okay, that makes me so glad. Thank you. I can carry on. You guys, I had fun looking through the Pampa Independent School District website, and I was so impressed with their mission statement to produce learners who are compassionate, competent, confident, and future ready. And that's what I've been asked to do today, is give you guys a few tips to help make you future ready. You know, when I was riding in the parade yesterday as one of the 2 grand marshals, I couldn't help but think, life is like a parade with many floats. The first float is elementary school. The second float is middle school. And the third float is high school. That's where you are now. And most likely there will be future floats as you journey when you leave Pampa High School. So, what confetti of advice does Pam from Pampa, what does Pam from Pampa have to say to you today? When I graduated from PHS, I suppose I was a bit like Cinderella, lovely, just so lovely, with high expectations. I went to Texas Tech University, and then, 12 years later, I found myself facing single motherhood with a 2- and a 3-year-old. Failure had invaded my world. Pam from Pampa faced a big, big life failure. Today, I want to share 3 powerful life choices, each one encompassing a multitude of truth that summarizes why I'm on this stage today. The first life skill you need in your life parade is the word perseverance. It's the hard work you do after you get tired of the hard work you've already done. It's continued effort. It is to achieve something in spite of difficulty. It requires staying power and hard core grit. You're going to need that. Yes, students, dream big, but beware. At some point beyond the halls of Pampa High School, you will face demanding challenges. For many, life will not turn out the way you had planned. It may be loss of a job or the evaporation of a dream. I face disappointment as well. So what does one do with failure? The feeling of that. Friends, failure is not opposite of success. It is part of success. Failure is a necessary stepping stone in achieving your dreams. Many life lessons and much, much leadership wisdom can only come through the door of adversity and disappointment. So get ready. I can assure you that all 61 Harvester Hall of Fame recipients develop fortitude and principled character, not from well-deserved promotions, but from the hot, boiling circumstances of life. And they had a choice: quit or press through the roadblock. So friends, when life gets tough, listen, do not give up. Do not give up. Just do the next right thing again and again and again. Things turn out best for those who make the best of the way things turn out. I discovered that perseverance in time will produce a faithful harvest, a big harvest. In 2002, I co-founded a nonprofit, Arise Single Moms, and today, 20 years later, it's a global outreach that has literally reached around the world. I love to reflect on my days in the great halls of Pampa High School. I remember this janitor. This man was effervescent. He would say, "It's going to be a great day in PHS." In his life parade, he carried a positive attitude. His attitude literally created the joy atmosphere that I needed before that dreaded Spanish 2 class. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of a positive attitude. Attitude is more important than circumstances, facts, successes. Attitude is more important than giftedness, beauty, appearances, or skill. It will make or break your future, your interview, your reputation, The remarkable thing is that you and I have a choice every day regarding the attitude we embrace for that day. Some things are inevitable and you can't do anything about it. But one string you do have that nobody can take from you is your attitude. I've collected over 1,000 catchy quotes over the years, and this one is one of my favorites. Life changes without our permission. It is our attitude that determines the ride. I'm convinced that success in life, no matter what profession you choose, is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond. And remember that janitor I mentioned earlier? Something tragic happened in his life my senior year. Yet every morning his presence echoed, it's going to be a great day in Pampa High School. Attitude is everything. So far, I have addressed your future out there somewhere. But let's talk about your present, your life, this very moment. You look up here and you think, wow, Hall of Fame people. You might be thinking, even they're old Hall of Fame people, okay? Well, you know what? We look out there and we think, wow, high school people, young high school people. The truth is this, everyone who is where he is had to begin where he was. We remember sitting out there, don't we, Randy? We remember it was just like yesterday. Listen, everybody who is where he is had to begin where he was. So what should you begin today? One word is paramount in fostering your road to success, friends. It is the word mindset. A mindset is a set of beliefs that shape how you make sense of the world and how you see yourself. It influences how you behave, how you feel or think. Often high school kids aren't even aware of their mindset. They're just hanging out and doing life. I get that. But we up here on this stage, along with your teachers, know this. There are two kinds of students in this room. There are those that have a fixed mindset and those who have a growth mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, you believe your abilities or your fixed traits are just fixed. Therefore, they can't be changed. For example, thoughts that make you feel like you'll always be ineffective or limited. On the flip side, if you have a growth mindset, you believe that your talents and abilities can be developed over time and that nothing can hold you back. So, what did a growth mindset look like for me? I had to step outside my comfort zone and be willing to take risk, very, very scary risk. It was 6 o'clock in the morning one day. I was a brand new single mother sitting in the room with a navy blue wallpaper. The house was pitch black. The sun came up over the roof across the house, across the street, and shone down on me like a beaming light. It was a definitive moment in my life parade. I felt a quickening in my heart that said, Pam, one day you will arise, and speak to thousands of women about fortitude in making a difference. I momentarily thought, that is crazy, that is impossible, it was scary. Yet when we're willing to yield our growth mindset to God's plan for us, things beyond what you can hope or imagine begin to unfold. My favorite part in the parade yesterday was intentionally looking into some of the cheering faces, your cheering faces, and I really wondered when I saw some of you, I thought, do you personally know that you matter? Do you believe in yourself? I was a cheerleader my 7th and 8th grade year and lost the election my 9th grade year. Bonnie Grantham, the cheerleading sponsor, stormed over to my house after school She said, "Did you vote for yourself?" I said, "No, I didn't think I was supposed to." She said, "You lost by 1 vote." She got in my face and she continued, "Always vote for yourself in life." As I grew older, I understood that to mean, Pam, have confidence in yourself. Be your own life cheerleader. My mindset then became, Pam, vote. Vote intentionally for your best life. Hold your values close to your heart. Pour yourself into your family. Surround yourself with people who sharpen you, and if they don't, walk away. Know your ability. Know your ability that will take you. Your ability will take you to the top, but only your character will keep you there. What you dislike in others, take care of in yourself. Be an open-minded learner, I say to myself, and don't think more highly of yourself than you ought. Always be a little kinder than necessary. And above all, Pam, above all, choose wisely, because every important choice you make is a vote for your future. Yes, students, all of you up there, I see you up there. Yes, students, pursue a growth mindset, because your life is what your mindset makes it. In closing, as your life parade unfolds, I hope you'll remember the 3 life skills that Pam from Pampa mentioned as necessity for your life parade. Pam, it's the letters P, A, M. P, perseverance. A, attitude. M, mindset. I thank you most humbly for my induction into the Pampa Harvester Hall of Fame. I was, I am, and I will forever be a proud Pampa Harvester. Thank you.
Randy Johnston graduated from Pampa High School in 1965. He obtained an English degree from Brigham Young and then attended the University of Texas School of Law, where he received a Juris Doctor degree with honors. He handles cases involving professional malpractice and breaches of fiduciary duty, as well as other business disputes. He worked for 2 large law firms, first in Houston and then in Dallas. In 1981, he established his own firm, where he established himself as one of the premier trial lawyers in the country. He is the first lawyer in the nation to successfully sue Upjohn Pharmaceutical over its dangerous sleeping pill. He was on the front page of virtually every newspaper in the nation and appeared on the Maury Povich show. Because of his efforts, the sleeping pill was removed from the market. He has been honored by D Magazine as one of the Dallas top legal malpractice litigators, has been featured in the Texas Monthly as one of the top 100 attorneys in Texas, and he was recognized by Texas Lawyer as a go-to lawyer for the state for plaintiffs' legal malpractice. He was recognized as Lawyer of the Year in Dallas-Fort Worth multiple times. It was named to the Law Dragon 500. He also received the Jim Bomer Professionalism Award from the Texas Bar College. He wrote the bestseller book entitled Robbed at Pinpoint, with the goal of helping people avoid becoming victims of professional negligence. He often speaks to professional groups on how to avoid being cheated by lawyers, stockbrokers, and financial and wealth planners. He also speaks to legal groups discussing ways to stay out of trouble. His time and energy devoted to the education of lawyers earned him the Standing Ovation Award from the State Bar of Texas. He is also an accomplished guitar player and played in a band called Blue Collar Crime. He wore his hair in a ponytail for years in honor of what his grandmother had told him was his Indian heritage. Eventually, he auctioned off the right to cut his ponytail. The benefit raised $15,000, which was donated to Legal Aid for the Poor. He received the Champion of Justice Award for his devotion to legal aid for the poor. He currently lives in Dallas with his wife, Patricia, and he continues to practice law with his son, Coyt Randall Johnston Jr., the second oldest of their 8 children. He's an avid skier, bicyclist, archery hunter, and continues to enjoy playing the guitar. Mr. Johnston, would you please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, student body, please welcome Mr. Randy Johnston into the Pampa High School Harvester Hall of Fame.
Asked Principal Jones how long I was supposed to speak, and he said, you can talk as long as you want, but we're leaving in 15 minutes. Jose, thank you so much. I'm taking him with me on every speech I ever give. By the way, before I start talking, I just got to do this. All right, would all of y'all wave? Thank you. I have 8 children, only 2 of them here, and 10 grandchildren. So the ones that aren't here are going to get to see this. I will tell you, the ones that didn't show, it's kind of rude, right? They didn't come? I know. Well, trust me, they're out of the will. I have changed my will so that when I die, any money left after paying my bills is going to be used to put tattoos on my dead body, because I'm going to prove I can take it with me. I am so grateful to Todd, who nominated me, and I want to introduce my family. Patricia, Trissy, she's right over here, and my 2 boys, Coyt, whom I practice law with, and Brandon. My good friend Smith, my good friend Phil Smith that graduated with me, and Becky Brewer. Becky, she is just more special to me than you can know, for reasons I'll tell you in just a minute. You are truly lucky to be here, and I suspect if you're like I was, you don't understand that. Superintendent Piatt, give me a ballpark of what the budget is for Pampa High School for a year. High school? Yeah, just $3 million. I get choked up pretty easy. That's what the city of Pampa spends for y'all. You know, it's kind of like they have set out this great cafeteria and spent $3 million on it, and there's all of this stuff available. And if some of you are like me, you go in there and you think, I'm not going to eat. I don't want their food. I had a teacher that really pissed me off, and so I was not going to do that report, and this teacher, to his credit, really cared about me. And so he called me in and he said, why didn't you do the report? And I finally acknowledged, you're the reason I didn't do the report. And he said, so you're going to get back at me by staying stupid. That's your remedy for not liking me. So, not that you're stupid, but I'll just say, don't be like me. Go into that cafeteria and get some of everything. Take advantage of that $3 million they're spending on you. You are lucky to be here. When I was a senior in high school, my mother was married to a pipeline welder, so we were constantly moving away and coming back. My life was like the spokes of a wagon wheel. Go away, move back, come back to Pampa, go away. I attended 5 different high schools. And my senior year, I started in San Antonio. We came back to Texas, and right around Christmas time, it was time to go away to another job in Alabama, as I recall, and I said, I'm not doing it. I'm going to move out and live on my own so that I can attend Pampa High School. And I didn't have a place to stay, much less someone to feed me, and Becky Brewer and her family heard about my situation and took me in. So Becky, I love you. Thank you so much. Bob Wells and his family, class of '66, took me in after I'd exhausted my welcome at Becky's house. And if you don't go through that to attend Pampa High School, maybe you don't realize just how valuable this is. Goodness gracious, I knew if I didn't stay in Pampa, whatever price it took, and graduate from Pampa, I wasn't going to go to college, and I wasn't going to go to law school, and I definitely wasn't going to be in this Hall of Fame. So, and let me just see the hands of those of you who are here today missing either a trig class or a calculus class. Which ones of you are not in trig or calculus? Or let's just throw in chemistry. Well, your teachers have told me nothing I'm going to say is important as what you're missing in their class, and you're free to go back for a pop quiz if you want. But I hope you will stay here, because I want to talk to you just for a minute about my life, and I bet you're tired of hearing old people say, back when I was your age, I walked to school in the snow, uphill both ways, and I came home for lunch. I didn't. But my parents got divorced when I was very young, and so I lived with my grandparents in Shamrock, Texas, up until the age of 12. And every Saturday afternoon, I used to walk to the movie theater, the Texan, and watch Westerns. You don't see them much anymore, but that's pretty much all there was then. And I learned how to be a man from watching those Westerns. I learned about life, and I turned into a real hero worshiper. And my heroes were Audie Murphy and Roy Rogers and Gene Autry, Randolph Scott, Dale Roberson, people you may not even know. I will tell you, I've continued that, and one of my heroes now is Pam and all of the work that she does. One of my heroes is the very first inductee into this Hall of Fame, Randy Matson. Used to watch him dunk on these very basketball goals. I played a little bit of basketball here, and I was happy to see today they have removed the cellophane that they put on there, because there was some reason I never could sink a basket. I'm convinced it wasn't me. So let's talk just a little bit about those movies that I went to see. There's a cable channel TV in Dallas now called Grit, where they're showing all these old movies and all of the old TV westerns. And every once in a while on a Saturday afternoon, I'll plop down on a sofa and I'll watch them again. And I don't mind telling you, I see things now I didn't see then. I see some racial stereotyping of blacks and American Indians that was invisible to me when I was a child. I see women treated completely differently than men. And I asked myself, if these were my heroes, if this was what I thought life was about, why didn't I see that back then? And I think there's 2 reasons. I think one of the reasons is because the heroes didn't engage in that bad behavior. But another reason is because of the world that I grew up in. You see, I attended Pampa High School the year the first black student attended this school. They weren't allowed to go to school with me all through my life. The girls that attended school with me could only get jobs as secretaries or nurses or telephone operators back in those days. When I went to law school, the dean sat us down and at the University of Texas and said, "Congratulations, you are the class with the highest percentage of women law students in the history of the University of Texas." And it was 10%. That's the world that I grew up in, and people talk about and debate our present and whether we're perfect or still have some room to grow. And that's a legitimate debate, and I'll engage in it, but there's no debate about the past. I grew up in a racist, sexist world, and it would be foolish of me to think it didn't have some effect on me. I feel like, and some of my classmates, I think, are with me on this, where we're kind of like that fish that got caught and we're being pulled to where we don't want to be, and we fight against it and we break that line. But that fish hook will be there for our entire life. And I know it's in me, and I fight against it every day, and I'm not happy that it's there, but I know better than to ignore it, because when I ignore it, it somehow finds its way out. So, what do I do about that? Well, one of the things I do about it is think about it and talk about it openly. I saw water fountains and cafes marked whites only. People don't believe that. That's my lifetime. I watched the governor of Alabama and the governor of Arkansas stand in front of university doors to try to stop black students from entering. Black students whose parents paid taxes to build those universities. So what do we do about it? Well, one of the things that troubles me the most is people I loved accepted it. We comforted ourselves with the thought that, forgive me, I'm swatting at a fly. Loves my hairspray. We comfort ourselves with the fact that we didn't make that rule. You know, we're not the ones that made the rule, and so we were more than willing to just sit there and do nothing and benefit from the bad rules. I saw a political ad very recently, and it's very rare that I think a politician says anything worth quoting. But there was a political debate, and the candidates are irrelevant for purposes of this. This one person said to the other, "Sir, I don't know if you're a racist. I just know the racists think you're a racist." And I remember thinking, that's a pretty good test. You know, if bad people think you're one of them, that's not good. And if you do nothing in the face of bad behavior, it's possible they think you're one of them. So I try not to do that. And that's one of the reasons I went to law school. I couldn't be a cowboy and carry a gun and fight the bullies that I saw in real life. But a law degree gave me the opportunity to fight for the things that I believe in. And I am grateful for that. There was a time when I settled a pretty big case, and I thought maybe I'll quit practicing law. Maybe it's time. I can make $10,000 a year playing my guitar. It's not a lot of money, but I got my belt, my debts paid. First off, let me add quickly, turns out I grossly overestimated how much money I could make playing my guitar. But I decided not to retire because I wasn't ready to give up on helping my friends. I wasn't ready to abandon this field to people who were doing bad things. So I wrote the book, Robbed at Pinpoint, to help people, and then I decided to keep practicing law. And then I still had to find a way to deal with the fact that my parents, my grandparents, people I loved, had existed in a system that was unfair to so many of our brothers and sisters in the human family. And I found the answer to that, and it's forgiveness. You know, I really think that politician, I asked myself one time, you know, if you listen to a racist joke, does that make you a racist? Let's say you don't last, you just heard it. If you're in college and your best friend takes advantage of a girl who drank too much, does that make you a rapist? I don't know the answer to those. I just think those are the wrong questions. I think the right question is, if you're in any of those or a lot of other situations, are you a good person? Are you like Audie Murphy and Roy Rogers? Because they wouldn't stand silently by and let others be taken advantage of. So I think we need to quit asking who's the racist, and we need to quit accusing each other, but we all need to try to be better. And we all need to have a little bit of forgiveness, because we're not going to be perfect at it. It's hard to be the good guy. You know, there's a reason bad guys have gangs. Good guys, they stand alone. Good girls. I'm not trying to suggest that you women don't have your own role to play here. So let me go on with a little bit of my world. I work against that hook. I fight against it. I encourage you to. I have learned to extend myself and everyone around me a level of forgiveness when they don't do everything perfect the first time. I watched one of my best friends on this very basketball court, actually it's not too far from where Pam is sitting, foul the other player, and he stood right about there, wherever that free throw line is, and sunk 2 free throws, and Pampa lost. I didn't stop loving my friend, and he didn't stop playing basketball. We make mistakes, we learn from them, and we go on. And there are lots of examples I could give you, but I just want to tell you about 2 of my friends, and well, one friend, one person I read about, and then one last story about me, and then I promise, Principal, I'll be close to done. I had the very good fortune of representing a United States Navy SEAL on SEAL Team 6 who was on the bin Laden raid. He was in the helicopter that crashed in the bin Laden compound. And as I was thinking about telling y'all this story, I remember thinking, good grief, some of them were 8 years old when this happened, you know. I don't know how much you know about it. It was in 2012. This group of Navy SEALs, 3 different helicopters that actually landed, 3 different helicopters flew to this compound in Pakistan without Pakistan's permission because intelligence had said that bin Laden was in that compound. They thought, about a 60% chance it was him. They weren't sure. And they thought it was a one-way mission. They truly thought they would end up being shot down by the Pakistani Air Force trying to get out of the country. If you haven't seen the movie No Easy Day, go see it. If you haven't read the book, read the book No Easy Day that was written by my client. And that's one of the SEAL mottos. The only easy day was yesterday. There is no easy day today. And here's the thing about those men. Believing that they wouldn't ever say goodbye to their families, they didn't even get to call because no one even knew they were there. They ran to get on those helicopters. They ran to risk their lives and do the right thing. Now, they all came home. And here's the second part of that story that I want to tell you. President Obama went to meet these SEALs, even though we didn't know who they were. I mean, the only reason I knew is because this guy, I got sufficient security clearance to hear his story, and he told me the story. And there was a lot of question about who shot bin Laden of this group of SEALs. And there's a SEAL out there claiming he's the one who did it, and I'm going to tell you he's not, but that's a different debate. I'll just tell that story over there after we're through, if you're interested. But President Obama went down the hand, shaking all their hands, patted the dog, which they had to put a muzzle on because they didn't want him to bite the president. And then he's leaving, and he turns around and he says, "Come on, guys. I mean, I'm your commander-in-chief. Who shot bin Laden?" And they said, "We did, sir." God, that's some of my heroes. Those guys are my heroes. They're not bragging. They're about the team. They're doing what's hard. Here's the last story I will tell you. I read a story of a man who had been released from San Quentin prison after spending 20 years there for manslaughter. As a young man, he had killed a fellow gang member in Los Angeles. And then at his first prison, he joined a prison gang and became there's a word for him that I can't use. He became a sufficiently bad rear end that he got transferred to San Quentin, which is not a friendly place. And while he was there, he met this old black man who was in for life and made friends with him. And after a few months, this older gentleman said to him, "What do you want to do with your life? How do you see your life?" And he said, "Well, I want to get out of here. I want to get an education where I can get a job, and I want to get married, raise a family." And the old man said, "No, you don't." And according to the interview, there was a pretty tense discussion between this young, tough guy and this older man that went along the lines of, see if you've ever heard these words before. "You don't know anything about me. I know. What do you know? You can't tell me what I want. I know more than you do about what I want." And the old man said to him, "You know, everything you do in here guarantees that you stay here. So you want to stay in San Quentin and be the head of that gang because that's what you're doing." And then the old man said, "There's a big difference between wanting something and wishing for it. People who buy lottery tickets, they don't want to be rich. They wish they were rich. People who work their fannies off and promote and save, those people want to be rich." So here's my first challenge for you. Go home tonight and write down what you want. I mean, you want to be first chair, you want to get a scholarship to the University of Texas. Don't go to Oklahoma. I'm sorry, Pam. Oklahoma State. I'm fine with Oklahoma State. Write down what you want. Whatever it is, just write it down and then look at it. And then just ask yourself, because you know the answer to the next question, so ask it. What's the price tag for what I want? And then promise yourself to pay that price and you'll get it. Don't pay the price, don't expect to get it. I want to tell you one last story, and it's one I'm not very proud of. When I think it was either between my, just before my senior year or just after I'd graduated, I was dating a girl here in Pampa, and her brother called me one day and said, "You want to go to Amarillo and see the drag races?" And I said, "Sure." So there were three of us his parents were out of town. I go over to his house about a mile from here, as it turns out. And he said, "Let's get a six-pack of beer out of my parents' fridge." I just sat there quiet. So he and the other guy took the six-pack of beer. They're in the front seat, I'm in the back seat. They drank 2 beers on the way to Amarillo. "Here, Randy, you need to drink a beer. Join us." I didn't even like beer, but I took one. I drank about half of it to be sociable. We watched a couple of drag races. We came back to Pampa. 2 weeks later, his parents called me on the phone and said, "Randy, did you take some beer out of our fridge?" I couldn't believe they were accusing me, because the technical answer was, no, I didn't take it out of the fridge. Let me tell you the story. Your son took that beer. Remember, I'm talking to the father of the girl I want to date. I want to appear to be worthy to go out with his daughter on weekends. And I couldn't believe I was being blamed for the bad decisions of 2 other guys. Just wasn't fair. So you know what I said? I gave him the worst excuse you can ever have when you're accused of doing something wrong. I said, "It wasn't even my idea." You know what that says? That says you're not even smart enough to have your own bad ideas. You're just a follower of other people's bad ideas. And as I stood there in front of that father, it's like probably the first time in my life it dawned on me. That didn't matter, because I wasn't a good guy on that occasion. So here's my last challenge to you. Be a good guy. Be a good woman. Be a Pampa harvester. And beat Borger. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kanaly and Mr. Johnston, for sharing your wisdom with all of us today, and for giving so much of your time to participate in the Hall of Fame festivities. Also, thank you for the encouragement that you have given to Pampa High School students today. At this time, the show choir will come forward and sing Rise Up under the direction of Brianna Montgomery and Tammy May.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, and I'll rise up like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, high like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, when the silence is in
its feet. Mountains, bring it to its feet. Mountains, and I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, I will rise, I will rise. I will rise for you. I will rise for you. All we need is hope. For that we have each other. And for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. We will rise, we will rise. I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up, high like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the age. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, we will rise, we will rise. We will rise for you. We will rise for you.
Thank you, choir. It's always a job well done. So this is such a special day for us as we get to welcome home two amazing harvesters. So Pamela, Randy, thank you for imparting your wisdom, sharing your story, and being willing to kind of have those hard conversations with us as we go through. As I look out on these sea of young faces, I anxiously await to see who from the ranks here will step out in the not so far 10 years and be gracing this stage with the accomplishments that they're going to step out and change the world, and we look forward to that greatly. Guests, friends, alumni, please feel free when we're done to remain. This is your deal. Make sure you stay around, get all the pictures you want to there. If you're a Hall of Fame inductee from the past, please stay if we want to get a group photo of you guys before we get y'all out of here. So at this time, if we can get our cheerleaders to come forward, and if our audience will please stand, and we'll join our choir in singing the school song, and then they will sing the benediction. Seniors and juniors, if you'll stay in your section. Sophomores and freshmen, you're released back to third period. You're free to leave.